1A's, the Jonah Little Fox News, my channel where I talk about anime, video games, cartoons, and here I'm here to show off my anime expertise, and I am going to be talking about My Hero Academia, You're Next, the movie. Yep. So I'm actually doing this video. I kind of had this planned and stuff. I'll probably do a lot more anime related videos coming up. I have so many ideas. Just wanted to talk about more positive stuff and more things that are just in my ball game, etc., etc. But here I am going to talk about the My Hero Your Next movie. I just saw it last Saturday. I was kind of like, what am I going to do this weekend? And I was kind of just thinking to myself, you know what, let me just go rewatch Deadpool and Wolverine and stuff in theaters again, because it was such a great movie. And I'm just like, you know what, I got to see this in theaters again because it was such a good movie. But then I kind of saw something else was playing. And I was like, oh, that's right. My Hero Academia, You're Next. That movie comes out this month. So I went in, just bought my ticket. I saw it and I was like, yeah, thought it was a pretty good movie and stuff, Wasn't like the best My Hero Academia movie, but I'll definitely explain where do I fall in that, and where, and just my opinions and stuff, of course. That's the whole purpose of this video. It's a review. But yeah, I really did enjoy it though, so I'm going to tell you why. I'll give you my my ratings, my scores, etc. And I'm going to spoil the plot, so if in case that kind of concerns you, I advise you not to watch the rest of my review, by the way. Okay, so spoilers ahead. All right, go watch the movie if you want to check it out, or if you don't care, just listen to me ramble. All right, let's get into it. The story is set right before the war with the heroes and the League of Villains. Given how the city's in ruins, Aoyama's absence implying that he's already been caught, and the post-credits scene with All for One and Shigaraki preparing, a European crime family appears and kidnaps a girl named Anna, formerly from a noble family, and uses her unstable quirk to enhance their own powers. The family is led by Balado Gialani, if I'm pronouncing his name correctly, who goes by Dark Might, by assuming the form of All Might, facially based off of being inspired by him. He and his mafia family appear and cause chaos in Japan, currently. While the students of Class 1A was patrolling in 3 different groups, led by Deku, Bakugo, and Todoroki, they all get sucked into a sort of kind of pocket dimension, which are just enclosed locations created by Dark Might's quirk, Alchemy. Deku gets separated and meets up with Anna's boss, who wants to assassinate her before her power gets out of control, named Julio Giordani, if I'm saying his last name correctly. So Deku tries to find an alternative to saving her and stopping Dark Might. So that's pretty much how I would summarize the plot of the story. I'll definitely spoil a lot more details at some point in this video, more or less. But yeah. Alright, so next time I'm about to talk about the characterization. Now normally I will probably always give props or always make a section talking about the protagonist when I do reviews sometimes. But I kind of don't really feel like there's much of a need because we already know who Deku is and all that stuff as a character. So for me, that probably would have been already or automatically a 9 or 10 out of 10 or whatever. Anyways, unless he was bastardized or written out of character or something like that, then that's where I might deduct points. But nah. I'm just going to talk about the characters in general, the characterizations and stuff. So the characters all seem kind of fine in my opinion, and it kind of felt like in their prime based on how they handled villains, came up with strategies or how they were just leading. So they really do feel they're actually in their prime, this is and which makes sense too because it's the final arc of My Hero Academia or right before that. So so it seems like everybody has things together and they're handling things professionally. And I would definitely say the funniest characters to me in this movie was Deku and especially Bakugo. Deku had a few funny moments and stuff with Julio and all that stuff. Where Deku at one point he lost his powers because somebody has a quirk that can negate or nullify powers and stuff. And then Julio was like, "Oh, so you're just useless then? Let me use you as a human shield." And then Deku was like, "Wait, what?" and all that. Or when Deku was he got separated from his friends and he was he couldn't fly because again his powers got negated and he was falling. He was like, "Oh my god, I'm about to land on my crotch and all that." And he's like, "Oh my god, I'm alive somehow." Yeah, some of that was funny. Or even Bakugo, where Bakugo was he was talking to Julio. He was like, "Man, get out of here, cool supporting character." Or he was what else did he say? Or in the beginning of the movie, where Deku and his team ends up capturing 3 villains and stuff, and then Bakugo is bragging and stuff only 3? My team got 4. And then Todoroki is like, "Yeah, my team got 6. And then Bakugo is like, "Man, stop bragging. What are you talking about?" That was kind of hilarious. So yeah, I mean, it wasn't like it was super haha about everything, but some of this stuff did kind of land for me. I like some of that. But anyways, but yeah, but one of my criticisms though, I will definitely say is that I kind of felt like some of the characters were kind of just underutilized, or some of them were just there just because like like Mirio for example. And keep in mind, Mirio is like my second favorite My Hero Academia character, right? I like the character. I think he's awesome. But he kind of just showed up and stuff really and just didn't really do too much apart from like help save the citizens and stuff, or maybe help out with like some cannon fodder. And that was like a lot of the other characters that weren't like Deku, Todoroki, or even Bakugo. They kind of just showed up and just fought cannon fodder and stuff. Which I mean, it helps to have numbers, but I don't know. Sometimes you just wish that maybe some of these characters might need like a type of rival or something. And then again, it's kind of also hard in my opinion as well to kind of juggle like a ton of like over 20 something characters and stuff, because that's like class 1A is like I don't know the specific number, but it's an entire class of students, so it's gonna kind of be hard to focus on like Zero and then Sugarman or Coda and stuff, or Shoji, you know what I mean? So yeah, so or like hard to utilize them and everyone else, you know what I mean? So that's all I'm saying. Or like for example, like Tokoyami, I was actually surprised, like because like later on towards the end, it was like Deku, Todoroki, and Bakugo, and they're like, all right, we're gonna bring Tokoyami and stuff. And I was like, oh, so it's gonna be the four of them versus Dark Might. Okay, this is a little different. I thought it was just gonna be those three. But then all of these, they got surrounded by all these villains and stuff, or all these like cannon fodder goons and stuff, and like Todoroki is like, I can handle it with Dark Shadow and stuff, because Todoroki's quirk is really overpowered, or it's not overpowered, but it's really powerful and stuff, especially like when it's in the dark and stuff. But anyways, so Todoroki handled that, and everyone else, like Deku, Bakugo, and Todoroki handled Dark Might and stuff later, or any of the goons and stuff that was in their way. Like there was this one guy that has like the ability to stop motion and stuff, so it was cool seeing Deku use his like Fujin technique to like take him out and all that stuff. Like he completely like, yeah, like he was like, oh, you can stop motion, right? Like with this field, Deku was like, yeah, because like imagine like this guy, okay, imagine shooting this guy, right? And he uses his powers, he can easily slow bullets, right? So Deku used his powers and was able to still get past this field and like knock him out. That was pretty cool. Or like Todoroki and Bakugo, they were fighting like these two dudes. Like one of them was like a teleporter. This big dude, he was a teleporter, and this old guy, he was like a telekinetic and stuff. And Bakugo and Todoroki is like, seems like they can only teleport to like whatever's in their line of sight or whatever, and they're just like counterattacking with telekinesis. So they're like, all right, well fuck it, we'll just nuke the entire battlefield and everything, and then we'll just get them while they're while they can't teleport anywhere. That was pretty awesome though. So I like that. But anyways, but yeah, but that's just how they utilize some of the characters. Like some of them just yeah. I just felt like some of them were kind of underutilized in my opinion. The pros, they're all right. I mean, they pretty much help save some of the citizens, of course, too, and also help make up numbers and stuff when it came down to it. But yeah. But anyways, but my solution to this would be like just to kind of like just choose a handful of characters to like focus on like in the future and stuff. That's not really like, that hasn't really gotten too much attention. Like some of the aforementioned characters I brought up before. That didn't get really too much spotlight, or hell, even Kaminari. Like a lot of people kind of do like Kaminari and stuff, and they were like, I remember during the series, people were like, yeah, Kaminari has wasted potential. I'm like, well, the series is still going, and now here we are at the end of the series, and I'm like, you know what? Those people were kind of right. Kaminari kind of does have some wasted potential. I mean, he's a cool character, and he has a few good moments, but you just kind of wish that he had a little bit more, But it is what it is. But yeah. So I mean, yeah, but I mean, they have done stuff like this, like back in like Two Heroes, where they like focused on like a certain like group of like characters and stuff. Back in that first movie of My Hero Academia, or like in World Missions, where again they focused on a certain group. But that's not to say that this was bad either. I actually enjoyed it, so it is what it is. So that's my takeaway from the characterizations in this movie. All right, and while I won't talk too much about the protagonist, I would definitely talk about the antagonist. Okay, So Dark Might, he definitely was a pretty fun movie villain and stuff, putting on a pseudo All Might act the entire time. I kind of feel like he was definitely a good troll to the actual All Might, making like mocking his speech and his mannerisms and stuff. It was kind of almost like Obito from like Naruto, putting on his best Madara impression and stuff. You know, like he was just trying to be like All Might to a T. I mean, everybody saw it through it. It was like, man, we know All Might. This ain't the real All Might and stuff. But still, like it's like either the appearance is uncanny because he morphed his face to look like All Might, and he's got his physique and everything, and then he's also like, oh, got his whole like, yeah, it's All Might's kind of personality, but he's like, evil and stuff, which kind of feels like a slap in the face to like a lot of the students and stuff, especially Deku of all people. So yeah, so they were definitely not happy about that, but it was still pretty cool. But I like that. That was definitely, of course, you could say probably one of the main draws for the movie and stuff. And it's like, oh, there's an evil version of All Might out there. So like you're probably theorizing, is it a clone? Is it like his like brother or something? We know it's not his brother or whatever. Kind of weird twin shenanigans. But I'm just spitballing here. You're just wondering who is this? What's going on? And obviously this is just somebody else that's just masquerading as All Might. So I'm not disappointed or anything. I'm just like, oh yeah, makes sense and stuff. But I mean, but it's not like cloning is out of the realm of possibility either for My Hero Academia. I guess like given how My Hero Academia lives in like a more technologically advanced society, and on top of that, like in that second movie, what was it? I can't remember the name of the second movie right now, but like in the second movie, pretty much like All for One, he had a clone and stuff. Nine, who was the main villain of that. So it's not impossible, but this villain, Dark Might, he was definitely pretty cool and stuff. He kind of reminds me a little bit, come to think of it, of Chizuki or Overhaul and stuff. Like how Overhaul like had ran the Yakuza and all that stuff, and he had an aberration for wanting to become like a villain and all that stuff. Even though the Yakuza was like, yeah, we're not trying to do all that super villains nonsense and stuff. He's able to manipulate that. So that's kind of like how his powers work and stuff. So think of it like, we've all seen like, I'm pretty sure most of us have seen Full Metal Alchemist, right? So think of it like that, just without a lot of rules or restrictions and stuff, And Dark Might keeps getting enhancements from Anna and whatnot against her will to try and enhance his powers and all that stuff. So that's how that works. But yeah, I thought that was pretty cool. Alright, so next up I'm about to talk about the animation and the fight choreography. So I really like the backgrounds and the environments in the movie where there's locations like a shore, jungle, amusement park, flower garden, etc. Which it kind of felt like Kingdom Hearts to me, where it's taking place in like separate worlds and all that stuff, kind of much like a JRPG or like what's that? Like a JRPG or like some kind of D&D game and stuff, And there's actually like a little reference inside the movie where there's this like one villain and stuff, right? And he's just waiting, like and stuff, and he's like got Bakugo and his team like in this type of maze and stuff where they're fighting all these villains or fighting all these like enemies and stuff. And he's just like in his like wizard get up, and he's like, man, I went through the trouble of putting on this maze, this wizard outfit, and they don't have the nerve to show up and all that. And then they took a secret back door, or they made their own entrance or whatever, and just kind of made their way through the maze. Hang on. So yeah, I definitely like that aspect about the movie and stuff. It definitely did feel like a JRPG, D&D type of thing, for real. And then, of course, I definitely like the fight choreography and stuff. It was definitely well animated, where it does that Broly and stuff, where you got Gogeta and Broly fighting against each other and stuff. And then it goes from like 2D 1 minute and then 3D in the next. Like it's like, oh, is it now in like some kind of video game or something like that? Yeah. So that's how it was getting, and whatnot. During the movie, at least with the final battle, of course. That's to be expected. And it's the same thing that happened in the first movie of My Hero Academia, Your Next, or not Your Next, my bad. The two heroes, where like All Might and Deku were fighting like Wolfram and stuff, and it was like cutting back from like All Might to Deku, and then so on and so forth. You know what I mean? Like yeah. So I thought that was pretty awesome too. So Yeah, yeah. So definitely some pretty good fight choreography and stuff, you know. So definitely, and I definitely loved how a lot of the powers got utilized and stuff. That was pretty nice. Um, of course, expect there to be a lot of explosions and uh, background damage and stuff, and a lot of just destruction in general and stuff. You know, hell, of course, since you got like Bakugo and Todoroki, of course, there's going to be a lot of explosions and fire. And then Deku, at one point, he was like getting in like a pretty good combo on Dark Might, and then turned into a freaking tornado on the guy. And then when he was getting his final hit in, later when he turns into his like second monstrous form, like Deku ends up kicking the guy so hard he destroys the entire like environment that he had created, or the entire thing that he created that's like towering above the city and all that stuff. Like immediately one shots it, destroys it just like that. So that was pretty cool. And what's crazy is not even Endeavor could like destroy it without it having to self repair itself. So that's a pretty sick feat for Deku right there. But anyways, that's pretty much my takeaway from the fight choreography and the animation and whatnot. But yeah. All right. So next up, I'm about to talk about my scores before I end this whole thing. So as far as the story goes, I got to give it an 8.5 or 8.5 out of 10. It was a pretty good story and stuff. Nothing too crazy or too like, oh damn, but it just it was all right. Pretty solid. Like for me, an 8 is always like a solid score. 7 is like average. Like that's to be expected. But yeah, and 9 and 10 are obviously like, god damn, like this is like definitely almost like damn near perfect for me. But I gotta say 8.5 out of 10. Nothing too crazy or characterization. Definitely 8.5 out of 10. Again, nothing too out of the park like that, but also pretty solid. The antagonist, I like Dark Might, so I definitely give him like a 9 out of 10 and stuff. That was pretty cool. Soundtrack, of course, the soundtrack and stuff. Damn, I probably should have talked about the voice acting, but I mean, the voice acting was pretty good too. I watched it in subbed anyway, so yeah. So I mean, but I'm not gonna include that here, but because I think I got a solid score anyways. But the soundtrack, pretty solid, 8 out of 10. Pretty much there weren't any too memorable songs like that for me in particular, but I guess like the songs that stood out to me were of course like I guess we're not stood out, but I would say like obviously it just has an opening and an ending, the end credits and all that stuff, like two songs for that, and then mostly the normal soundtrack you will hear in a My Hero Academia episode or something. Like of course you say Run and all that stuff. Of course that's in my head because of this movie for a minute, but I mean that's You Say Run. I mean hell, it made like 27 million views off of YouTube and stuff because it's like a very motivational like song and stuff. It's like it's crazy. But yeah, so that's been on my head all week about that. But yeah, yeah. So definitely got to say an 8 out of 10 for the soundtrack. The animation, the fight choreography, definitely a 10 out of 10. Love the action and all that stuff. Hell, I really, really wish I would have recorded the scene where Mirko showed up and she was fighting all these like monsters and stuff. I was like, damn it. And some of it was kind of sexy too. I'm just being honest. I'm being honest. I like me Mirko, okay? I love me a bunny girl. But that's just me though. But yeah, but Mirko was kicking ass and stuff. And a lot of the other characters and stuff too, of course, like Tokoyami and stuff. He was fighting off like a shit ton of like monsters and bad guys and stuff until Hawk showed up to help him out. Of course, like I said, the final scene with Deku, Bakugo, and Todoroki, where they were beating the shit, like they were fighting Dark Might and stuff. But yeah, yeah, yeah. So that was pretty nice. And then overall, I gotta say, like, just that's my entire thing. So I would say like it's like an 8.8 out of 10, or just to sum it up, an 88% out of 100%, or just a simply a B plus. But yeah, but tell me down below what you guys think. Did you guys actually see My Hero Academia your next? Are you going to go see it? Or did you just hear my review and think, maybe I might check it out, maybe not, or whatever. But this is the Joan Lowell Fox, and I'm out. Plus Ultra.